Someone has said, and I think rightfully so, that family life is both exhilarating and exasperating. That living as husbands and wives, parents and children, brothers and sisters, grandparents and grandchildren brings, on the one hand, some of life's greatest joys, and on the other hand, as you so well know, and I know, some of life's greatest frustrations. Our focus today is the happy, healthy, and loving family. And I want to share with you 5 characteristics of the happy, healthy, and loving family. First of all, in a happy and healthy family, each person shows appreciation and respect for the other. In the really happy and healthy family, each person shows appreciation and respect for the other. Each of you here, I think, knows the name Kevin Durant. Now, you Grizzly fans wish you'd never heard that name. He, of course, is the power forward for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they defeated our Grizzlies in the first round of the playoffs. You probably know that just a few days ago, Kevin Durant was named the most valuable player of the National Basketball Association for 2013-2014. What moved me as I read about this and even saw on YouTube a clip of his acceptance speech was what he had to say about his mother. After talking about the place his teammates played in his abilities as a team player and as the most valuable player, he said this in the last words. Last, I want to thank my mom. Mom, I don't think you know what you did. You made us believe. You kept us off the streets. You put clothes on our backs and food on the table. You made sure we ate even if you didn't. I love you, Mom. You're the real MVP. Now, friends, that's a class act. That's a real class act. To show that kind of love and appreciation and respect for his mother. But the truth is, each of us within the family needs to show appreciation and respect for one another. Let me reveal my list of what it looks like to have respect for one another in the family. It's parents respecting that our children are different than us and are growing up in different times and thus not expecting them to be like us. It's fathers and mothers teaching sons and daughters that women are equal and have unique gifts that make family, community, and the workplace better places. It's husbands respecting the demands of the wife mother and stepping up to do our part in the domestic responsibilities within the home and to ease the load. It's wives respecting the unique demands of men in our modern changing world. It's teenagers respecting the experiences we adults have had over the years that guide our decisions. It's grandparents respecting their children and trusting their decisions for child rearing, even if different from ours. It's every family member understanding that we each are responsible for the well-being of the family and doing our part to make it work. Secondly, in the happy and healthy family, parents accept that our children are watching and learning from us. In the happy and healthy family, we parents need to understand that our children are watching us and learning from us. I've told before, and I just love this story about the father who picked up his preschool son from daycare, and after picking him up, began to run several errands. And as he ran each of the errands, fulfilled each of the activities, he got behind. And so as he ran through those errands, he began to speed a little bit from this point to this point to this point. And sure enough, after he'd been on the road for a while, he heard a siren behind him and looked in the rearview mirror and saw that a policeman was behind him and was pulling him over. He expressed a few words and then pulled over. The policeman came to the driver's side door, and the man rolled down the window, and at the very moment that he rolled down the window, as the policeman was at the door, the son in the back said, "Daddy, is this the idiot you were talking about?" I just love that story. It's all too real, friends. They're watching. Moms, dads, grandfathers, grandmothers, they're watching us and they're learning from us. Someone has said there are 7 things that children learn from us: how to treat other people, whether or not to be truthful, how to handle disappointment, how to accept our shortcomings and do better, whether we are here in this life to be served or to serve, how to handle disagreement with maturity, and whether material things or spiritual things matter most in our lives. I like that list. The poet has put it this way: his little arms crept around my neck, and then I heard him say, for simple words I can't forget, for words that made me pray. They turned a mirror on my soul, on secrets no one knew. They startled me, I hear them yet. He said, I'll be like you. Thirdly, there is constructive communication. In the happy, healthy, and loving family, there is constructive communication. Now, you know that we clergy, when we are preparing to marry someone, require what we call premarital counseling sessions. I don't know of any minister who will marry someone without these premarital counseling sessions. And we cover a lot of topics. One of the things I would guess every minister covers in these conversations with this couple who are about to be married is communication. One of the things I share with them is a sheet that lists 16 tips for effective communication. Let me share just a few of those with you. Really listen to your partner. Take the time to hear and understand. Make time for communication to happen, to regularly share your thoughts and feelings with each other. Watch your tone. You can still address the issue, but an inappropriate tone doesn't help that. Don't let things pile up. One of the best ways to avoid a fight is to address the issue early. Good stuff, huh? Cool off first. If you're mad or in a bad mood, take some time to relax and cool down before starting a discussion. And that list, again, has 16 tips for couples to discern what healthy and constructive communication is. But the one I like best that I share with them comes from a Christian counselor who says that there are 4 words that define effective communication. One is desire. The desire to know what the other feels and thinks. There cannot be healthy communication between husband and wife and parents and children, siblings, grandparents, grandchildren, if we don't have the desire to know what the other thinks and the other feels. He said, secondly, admittance. Admitting to oneself that the primary others in your life have a need and a right to be heard. Admitting that that spouse, that husband, that wife, that child, that parent, that brother, that sister, that grandparent, that grandchild has a need and a right to be heard by you. Thirdly, focus. The willingness to focus on listening and hearing. Listening, really listening, focusing on what the person is trying to tell you. And fourthly, time. Making the time amidst busyness and distractions to talk and listen. And this Christian counselor goes on to say that the number one enemy, and I probably agree with this, the number one enemy to effective and faithful communication, constructive communication, is busyness. That we have our schedules so full, we have our agenda so complete, we have the responsibilities and tasks that we've got to fulfill, that one of the things that gets last on that list is the time that we spend together as husbands and wives, parents and children, talking with one another. I don't think the number one issue is desire. His first word. I don't think the number one issue in communication within the family is that you don't desire or I don't desire to be in faithful communication with the members of our family. I think the number one issue, and he's right, is busyness. We don't make a priority of time to talk with our husbands and our wives and our children and our parents like we do everything else. And then he goes on to make this compelling statement. No matter how busy you are, you must take time to make the other person feel important. Ooh, I like that. Tough as it is for me. If that person really is that important in your life, and they should be, then you'll make the time for them. No matter how busy you are, you must take time to make the other person feel important. And how can anyone feel important if we don't make the time to talk with them and communicate effectively with them? Fourthly, one feels ongoing love and support. In the happy, healthy, loving family, one feels ongoing love and support. Pat and I went last weekend to visit our daughter and son-in-law and see our grandchildren, and you can always tell when I'm energized, re-energized. I've been to see my grandchildren. Grayson, as you certainly know by now, as many times as I talk about them, is 5 going on 6. Asher is 19 months. One of the things that Grayson loves when Mama Pat, as he calls my wife Pat and his grandmother, to do is read a book to him before he goes to bed. And so every time we're there or they're here, he expects Mama Pat to read him a story. Well, one night while we were there, he said, Mama Pat, I want you to sing me a song. She had brought some books for him to pick out the book he wanted her to read, and he said, no, I want you to sing me a song. And she said, what song do you want me to sing? And he said, I want you to sing the song Mommy sings to me. And she said, well, Grayson, what song is that? And he says, well, Mommy knows. And what we learned was that our daughter has been singing this song to our grandson for years. And so Pat went and got Leanne and brought her into the room, and Leanne sang at least a part of the song titled Never Alone. Never heard it before. It's sung by Lady Antebellum, written by others, and it contains these very moving words. May the angels protect you, trouble neglect you, and heaven accept you when it's time to go home. May you always have plenty, your glass never empty, and know in your belly you're never alone. May your tears come from laughing, you find friends worth having, with every year passing they mean more than gold. May you win and stay humble, smile more than grumble, and know when you stumble you're never alone. Never alone, never alone. I'll be in every beat of your heart when you face the unknown. Wherever you fly, this isn't goodbye. My love will follow you, stay with you. You're never alone. Well, I have to be honest, as much as I wanted, I'm not going to promise the cold winds won't blow. So when hard times have found you and your fears surround you, wrap my love around you. You're never alone. Never alone, never alone. I'll be in every beat of your heart when you face the unknown. Wherever you fly, this isn't goodbye. My love will follow you, stay with you. You're never alone. Isn't that powerful? You're never alone. No matter how harsh the cold winds blow, no matter what life brings you, no matter where you go, no matter what the circumstance of your life, there will always be one place, one arena of life where you will know you are loved and you'll never be alone, ever. And however far you and I move from our homes and our families, and the loving and healthy family, every single person knows that we're in the heartbeat of everyone in our home, and we're never, never alone. And finally this, no one expects perfection. In the happy and healthy home, no one expects perfection. I don't need to tell you, husbands, there are no perfect husbands. Your wives have probably already told you. Wives, there aren't any perfect wives. And as much as we grandparents regret admitting this, there are no perfect grandparents and no perfect grandchildren, no perfect brothers, no perfect sisters. There are no perfect people in the family. So if wives, you're looking for a perfect husband, you're in bad shape. And husbands, if you're looking for a perfect wife, sorry. Children, if you're looking for perfect parents, tough luck. And parents, if you're looking for perfect children, guess what? They're not around. And on the list goes. And so when Paul wrote here in 1 Corinthians 13 and talked about love, he offered up 4 things that we need to remember in family life because none of us are perfect. First of all, he said love is patient. Every member of every family ought to pray every single morning for patience, because we are going to aggravate one another. And husbands and wives are going to do some stupid things. And our kids are going to do stupid things. And we parents are going to do stupid things. And we're going to hurt each other's feelings because we're human. But in the happy and healthy home, we seek to be patient with one another. Secondly, we watch our anger. He said, love is slow to be angry. Because there's imperfection in the family, and we're going to be upset by what others do, we need to work on our anger. Third thing is, seek to be understanding. Seek to understand what's going on in that person's life at that time that causes that kind of problem in the family. And finally, be forgiving. We're not going to make it. We're not going to make it in the family with all the imperfections if we're not patient, if we're not watching our anger, if we're not seeking to be understanding, and if we're not forgiving. That's real love among imperfect people. So on this Mother's Day, this festival of the Christian home, I would hope we each would remember to seek to show appreciation and respect for one another within the family. For we parents to understand that our children are watching us and learning from us and be attentive to that. That we each work at constructive communication, most importantly, giving each other time and talking, listening, and understanding. That we remember that there's a place we're never alone, where the heartbeat is always for us, and that's our family. And that amidst our imperfections, we need to be patient, understanding, and forgiving. Thanks be to God. Amen.